All right. Here we are again. Welcome to our little space, our corner, where I get in and I share with you some perspectives, some ideas, some points of view. So, um, as I work with a lot of business owners and I work with a lot of companies, I always get to a point where we have to define what is the position in the market. So most of the times we hear that, oh, you need to dominate the market, you need to conquer the market, you need to lead the market. And today I want to share with you an experience that happened with one of my clients, and we were discussing on how to deal with the incoming recession. Because if you're not aware of this, we are getting into a season of winter, which is not only the climatic winter, the weather. We are talking of winter in terms of also a time where things slow down, where you get to hit a plateau, or worse, when we get into a recession, as we are heading towards that recession in Europe primarily, but this is going to affect also the entire rest of the world. We have had moments and season of a bull market. Now there's going to be a correction. And what I do, one of the things I do with my clients as a coach, I help them to have a different perspective, get out of the frame and give them different types of points of view. Why is this important? This is important because when you are in the game, when you are in the frame, you are not able to look at those blank spots, those corners, those things that you cannot anticipate because you are hustling day in, day out. So the help of a coach allows you to see things from a different perspective and allows you to take better decisions. As a coach, I don't tell my clients what they have to do, but I allow them to step in their ownership to understand where they are, where they want to be, what's in the gap, and how to close that gap. So um, in today's video, right now, I want to share with you an experience that I had with one of my clients. So we were talking about competition. We were talking about market. So I thought, oh, this is an interesting perspective. Let me share it with everybody else. So what I want to do with you right now, I want us to dive into what is competition. And as an Italian, and I studied Latin in high school, I like to play with the words because words carry deep meaning, which goes beyond the normal word that we use. Let's go and look at the roots of that word. So let's talk about competition. And today we're going to dive into the hidden roots of the word competition, which then can allow you to dominate the market in an empowering way. So, first thing, let's look at the origin of competition. So, the origin of competition is not what you think. Now, what do I mean by that? When we think about competition, we think about dominance, we think about being so relevant, so driven by significance. If you did watch my other intervention, which I had the other day, go on my channels, and there is an intervention where I talk about how the communication can lead to being assertive, dominating, but then that's driven by total significance. So let's go back to the point of today, the origin of competition. So if we dive into this, I'm going to explain you where it comes from. So competition comes from the word in Latin, which means competere. And if we break it down, com means together and petere means to strive. So if we look at the word competition, which comes from Latin competere, it means come together, petere, to strive. So it means striving together, strive together. So the key message here that I want to share with you is competition is not about crushing your rivals. Competition is about pushing yourself to grow, to expand, to evolve, to innovate alongside others. So what do I mean? I want to invite you to reframe the word competition as a force of innovation, not destruction. So, for example, if you look at Apple and Samsung, these have been rivalries in the mobile sector. And for a good period of time, I had Samsung. Then I needed to have a better connection, integration, a better total integration with all my devices. So I moved back to Apple. But then sometimes I had also another Samsung. So I have, at the moment, I have at least three iPhones, okay, and one Samsung. Why? Because Samsung has some features which I like, although all my ecosystem is all Apple. So let's look at this. The rivalry between Samsung and Apple has advanced the smartphone tech for everyone. What do I mean by that? I mean that the competition between the two of them has led them even sometimes to cooperate together. Let me tell you one thing. Do you know that the retina glass of the iPhone of Apple is a pattern of Samsung? So what happens? The competition between the two giants has brought in innovation, not destroying the market, not crashing, not fighting, but both of them are competing. Do you know that the camera of Samsung is way far better than the cameras of Apple? So this competition matters. Why? Because let me tell you one thing. Your clients or the people in the market crave for purpose-driven narratives. Purpose-driven narratives. What does it mean? I'm encouraging you right now to position your brand as a collaborative competitor who elevates the industry. So instead of focusing on how to crash the industry, how to destroy your competition, think of how you can collaboratively advance in your industry. How can you elevate the game in your industry? By positioning your brand in such a way that it's innovating, in such a way that it is bringing and adding massive value in the market. That's how you can compete in the market. And as you compete in the market, you will dominate in a healthy way the industry. Okay? So make sure that you position your brand as a collaborative competitor who elevates the industry. Okay, so this was point one. Now let's look at point two, because as I was talking with my client, and by the way, drop down in the comments if you have any observation that you want to share or anything that you want to ask. As soon as I look at it, I will just jump in and answer it or add value to what you have said. The second point I analyzed with my client during this coaching session was the fact that we're talking about competition. So, how can we identify your competitive advantage? So, with my client, we came up with a framework. And I love this framework because this framework is what has helped me and has also helped the businesses I worked with. So this framework, I learned it long time ago and I've always applied it. And this framework has also helped me in such a way that I'm able to pitch my business, my ideas to investors, to clients, to people. So if you want, write down X, Y, Z, and I'm going to explain it to you. Actually, let me just tell it to you directly, and then we dive into it, okay? So my framework of X, Y, Z is how can you articulate. First of all, how can you identify and how can you articulate your competitive advantage? And the best way that I found to do this is through my framework XYZ. So, what is it about? This framework is basically I help X through Y to achieve Z. I help X through Y to achieve Z. Why is this important? For example, let's imagine X stands for who is your avatar, who is your audience. Y stands for your unique method, your skill. So what's the secret? And Z is the tangible outcome. So for example, imagine you are a marketing agency and you want to address people who are doing e-commerce brands. And your why, your unique method is your automated campaign. And what is the outcome? To double the sales in 90 days, for example. So how can we frame this together? It's this. I help busy e-commerce brands like yours through my automated campaigns to double and repeat your sales in 90 days. So this is a framework that allows you to identify and then to articulate your competitive advantage. I help X through Y to get Z. X, Y, Z. Now, the best way to do that is to dive into a direct example. So now let's get on to apply this framework and let's go from theory to practice. So first of all, let's identify what is X. X is your audience. And when I say your audience, I want to invite you to not be generic. I help business owners. No, be specific. For example, let's imagine that you are a social media consultant and you want to help businesses to grow. Okay? Brilliant. So if this is what you tell everybody, oh, I'm a social media agency and I help businesses to grow. Brilliant. It's great. It's helpful, but it's too vague. There is no competitive advantage here. So how can we do that? How can we reframe that? So first of all, X has to be your audience. Now, when you talk about your audience, make it as niche as possible. Why? Niche brings in less competition. Niche brings in also more expertise. So for example, let's imagine that you are a social media agency, and instead of focusing on helping businesses in general, let's niche it down and let's go for vegan bakeries instead of all food businesses. So how does it work? I help vegan bakeries. And now let's go to your why. Why is, let me bring it on the screen. Why is your method, your skill, your X factor? What is the difference that makes a difference in the market? Let's look at the why. Why should be the method. Okay, so again, quick recap. X is the audience. Y is the method. So when you bring down the method, let's imagine that you do TikTok storytelling. So if we talk about TikTok storytelling, number one, we are niching it down to a specific platform with a specific skill, which is storytelling. So now let's break it down. I help small vegan bakeries through TikTok storytelling. Okay, so again, we have got a unique angle. We have not done, through social media advertisement. We have niched it down to a specific object, to a specific platform and a specific scale. And now let's get on to Z. So Z is the result. So the result your client will get once they start working with you. So how can you be able to articulate your competitive advantage? Through the method of X, Y, and Z. Now, Z stands for the methodology. What is the method? Z stands for the result. What results are you going to give to your client? So, for example, double your local orders in 90 days. Now, look at this. The result you're giving brings in urgency and it's measurable because you're going to double in a period of time of 90 days. So this creates urgency and a measurable outcome. Now, why does this XYZ work? It works simply because, number one, it's niche specific. Vegan bakeries instead of all food business. It's repeatable. and it solves a pain point. So think about your business, think about your industry, think about what you're doing. How can you, together with your team, reframe your competitive advantage through the formula XYZ? So some mistakes you need to avoid that I did, okay? I help everyone. I do it through social media. Let's niche it down to specific ones, to specific niche, and with a unique methodology, which brings in uniqueness and a tangible, measurable result. Okay, so what I want to invite you to do, wherever you are watching me right now, I would like to invite you to drop down in the section of comments your X, Y, Z in your industry. I help X through Y to achieve Z. This can help you really identify, number one, who is your avatar, who is the client you're working with, make you understand together with your team what are your methodologies or skills which are unique in the market, and number two, identify what is the clear result. Now, this is how you can articulate your competitive advantage. And for those of you who are wondering, hey Moses, I will need some help in this, okay, I would like to invite you free of charge, okay, free of charge, simply because probably later on you may need the help of me or my team. Free of charge, I invite you to fill in this questionnaire. This is a coaching questionnaire, and this coaching questionnaire can help you identify and understand where you are right now, first of all, where you want to be, and can give you awareness. People who are filled in this questionnaire, have been able to have clarity, and clarity is power, and have 75% immediate results later on, because clarity gives you power. So what I want you to do, this questionnaire is a coaching questionnaire. They are specific studied questions to help you, to guide you, to hold you by hand in order for you to identify what type of help you may need. And if you would like to, me and my team, we are happy to be there to support you. For those of you who fill in your questionnaire, okay, you may have the chance of having a time with me where I will dive in together and understand what is your competitive advantage and help you to frame your XYZ. Okay, so fill in the questionnaire, and for sure, me or my team, we will get in touch with you. We will spend some time with you, understand, support you, and probably address you and direct you to one of my programs, which may be good for you, or one of my live or virtual events. So I'm here to help you. I'm here to support you. Fill in the questionnaire, and then we will jump on a call. And meanwhile, while you're there, drop down in the comments your XYZ. Talk to me. Tell me what your XYZ is. And then for the first 3 people who will put down their comments, I will evaluate them in the comment section, and that will help you to tweak it and help you to narrow it down. And probably we will have to jump on to understand a little bit better what you're doing and what your industry is. But this formula has helped me and is helping a lot of clients. It's a powerful framework. I help X through Y to get Z. Audience, methodology, and result. Okay, wonderful. That's all for now for me. Thank you so much, and I see you on a next episode based on on what may be needed or what may be inspiring me in that moment. Drop down a comments and see you on the next video. Ciao.